inadequate support networks, and the need for more robust policy frameworks. This workshop is designed to shed light on these challenges and, more importantly, to discuss actionable strategies for overcoming them. We have a fantastic lineup of a speaker and 2 panelists who would share their insights and experiences, and will have opportunities throughout the day for participants to ask questions, share their perspectives, and also engage in meaningful dialogue. But before we begin, I would like to go over some housekeeping items to ensure a smooth and productive experience for everyone. I hope I'm still audible.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you very much, Linda. Yes. Okay. We have a packed agenda for today. So we ask that everyone be mindful of the time. We will start with our first speaker session, which will be followed by a panel session, or a panel discussion rather, and we will wrap up with a Q&A session and a closing remark. We aim to keep each segment on schedule, so please help us by being punctual. Your participation is key to the success of this workshop. So I say thank you once again for joining this workshop and the call. So we encourage you to actively engage with our speakers and panelists. If you have questions during the presentation, please note them down. There will be dedicated time for questions and answers where you can ask your questions or share your thoughts. We kindly ask everyone to maintain a respectful and constructive tone throughout the workshop. Our goal is to create a safe and welcoming environment where all voices can be heard and diverse perspectives are valued. Please ensure that your microphone is muted when you're not speaking to minimize background noise. If you experience any technical difficulties, please reach out to our technical support team in the chat and they will assist you promptly. Networking is a crucial part of the workshop. There will be opportunities to connect with other participants, speakers, and panelists throughout the day. We encourage you to take advantage of these moments to build connections and share experiences. At the end of the workshop, we'll be sending out a feedback form. We value your input and we encourage you to provide feedbacks to help us improve future events. Once again, thank you for being here. Next on the agenda is the opening remark. I am more than delighted to welcome you all to this important workshop, Breaking Barriers, Promoting Women's Leadership and Economic Empowerment Through Entrepreneurship in Africa. Once again, on behalf of the SDG 5, I say thank you for joining us today. We have gathered here with a shared goal to explore the challenges and opportunities facing women entrepreneurs in Africa. Women across our continent face unique obstacles in the entrepreneurial scale, from cultural norms that dictate that women can or cannot do, to limited access to financial resources and a lack of robust support networks. These barriers have long prevented women from fully participating and benefiting from entrepreneurship. Without further ado, I would like to invite our guest speaker to the virtual stage, Miss Faith Emmanuel. Please, is Miss Faith on the call? Is she here with us?
Yes, Aisha, I'm here. Good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Aisha, you can hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah, I can hear you, Faith. Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much. Yeah, so without any further, I would like to invite our guest speaker to the virtual stage, Miss Faith Emmanuel. Miss Faith, she is the founder of FEGI Global, and FEGI Global is a dynamic girl child advocacy NGO dedicated to transforming education through mindset change and community outreach. Ms. Faith is passionate about empowering young women. She orchestrates impactful initiatives like the Girl Child Conference and Valentine with the girls, reaching over 5,000 individuals in Nigeria's North Central region. Her commitment extends beyond FEGI Global, as she serves as a serial volunteer for organizations like Gotney Leadership Center, Yaga Africa, Malala Fund, Safer Schools for Girls Project Nigeria. Her, her Monday series on Instagram that is titled Dear 20 Something, which provides invaluable insights to thousands of youths, guiding them through the transformative 20s with wisdom. Miss Faith, I welcome you again and over to you. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Faith.
Good evening,
How are you today?
Aisha, you look so beautiful as usual.
Oh,
Almost
same. Oh, no,
beautiful.
you
Right.
look beautiful
My
too.
God.
Thank you. Thank
Women
you. Oh my
supporting
God.
you.
Okay, your skin is popping.
Good
Trust
evening,
me. You look good, girl.
Tekla,
Trust me.
Manjuma. Okay, I can see a couple of people on this call that are not Nigerian, and this is what I think I especially love about this IDEF project, the fact that it's all encompassing, is an African project, cohort. Permit my words, I'm not in your class, so I'm not exactly sure what you use. So thank you so much, everyone. Yinju, I see you. So right to it, because we don't have a lot of time. Thank you so much, everyone. Please listen with rapt attention, and I'm sure that we would get a lot out of this session. Firstly, congratulations to everyone that made it to this call. I truly believe that you're about to shift in your mindset. You're about to gain valuable resources that will help you transcend even beyond where you currently are right now. Thank you, Aisha, for doing an amazing job welcoming this. So right to it, I'll start with a story. When I was in JS2, my mom sent me to somewhere in the North Central called Kaduna in Nigeria, the North Central part called Kaduna. They sell something called acha. Some people call it fonio. If you Google it, you see online, it's called fonio. And so she sells this it's very high in fiber. So it's very useful to people who are diabetic. The people who farm this particular produce are local women in Kaduna, and that's about the only place you can get it, just or Kaduna. And we had a lot of demand for it in Abuja because my mom is a womanpreneur. She sells, she buys wholesale, of course, and retail to people who sell. And then just because she didn't have a lot of structure at the time, I was the person going to the, like what we call it, the bush market. What it means is that we go directly to the farmers, get this farm produce and bring it to sell. And so I was in JS2, it was my, what was it now? Okay, it was a prize and speech and prize giving day. So my mom said, just quickly go. You will come back before it's your speech and prize giving day. And I'm like, okay, well, what's there? So there's this thing you tie. It's called, Yoruba people call it, is it Oja or so, Asusu, where they put the money. You know, if you go to the market, you see this meat seller, there's something they call the aprons and all. So she's like, tight under your uniform. So nobody will know you're carrying this much amount of money. And then, yes, I was scared, but I'm like, well, I'm a child. And then I went there. I negotiated with these women. I bought what I needed to buy. There's this car, it's like a pickup, but it's called J5 because it's covered and everything. And then I went, I bought everything up to like 10 bags, and I came back. How old would I have been at JS2? I'm not so sure. But then when I got back to the market, my speech and prize giving day was done, and they called me for almost all the awards. So my friends kept saying, where are you? Where did you go to? Because I got back to school about 3, but my friends were still there. They were waiting for me because they were holding my gifts. They didn't know where my house was. They're like, where did you go to? They've been calling you. You won everything and you were not around. That I'm proud. Like I knew I was going to take all the gifts now, so I just didn't show up. I was crying because at this point I felt really disadvantaged. That why would my mom send me to the market? And then she knew exactly. I told her severally. It's bad enough that she wasn't coming for this speech and prize giving day. Why did she have to send me to the market? This background is very necessary for the next thing I'm about to say. That experience shaped me for life. Why? I was open to entrepreneurship, and not just entrepreneurship, women entrepreneurship. From this whole story I just told you, there were a lot of barriers. I could have been kidnapped. They could have stolen my money. I was just a girl. There was just so many things. I moved from Abuja to Kaduna in a car with strange men. Everybody in that car, they were men, malams, alaji with their sacks tied inside this thing.
Wow.
And anything could have happened to me. I could have been raped. Really, anything could have happened to me. But God didn't let that happen, and I don't know why. No, let me not say I don't know. I know why now, because I'm here sharing that story with you. I'm saying this to say that over the years, I've seen a lot of challenges in entrepreneurship as a woman. And I look back to that time where my mom confidently took her market money, tied it under my uniform. She didn't even think that they will carry this girl, or they will steal all my market money, because that was a major purchase for her. Really, she goes to buy them in bulk and then share it to the different people in the market. Like, she sells it to
We can't hear you.
Yeah, I am there. We can't hear. Yeah, we can't hear. A lot of people are even writing in the comment section that they can't hear. But can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Linda. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh my God, I think we lost Miss
I think I know
Faith.
what's wrong. It's fine. I think I'm out of power on my mic. I think that's it. So at what point did you people stop hearing me, please, so I can pick up from there? Aisha, at what point
Please,
did
could
you...
could you go back to the story of
Okay,
you
now
know, when
you're
you ended
muted,
the
Aisha.
story.
I think your mic is muted. I can see you talking, but I can pick your words.
Okay. So, you know, where you ended with the story, or like your real life story, I think where you are now becoming more practical, or actually, yes, I think that's where you stopped.
Okay. I don't know why I can't hear you, Aisha. Oh my God, what is going
Faith,
on?
can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear Faith. Sorry, we can hear.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you as
Aisha.
well. The person
I can
talking
hear
now, I can
Aisha.
hear you, but your voice is really low.
Okay. Wow, Faith, I think.
Okay, I know exactly
Maybe you
what
can
to do.
check
Let me go
your
off the call and join in.
connection.
Let me just
Yeah.
go off the call and join in. Just give me a minute.
Okay, yes. Apologies everyone for the for the challenge. Please, we apologize for this while Miss Faith tries to reconnect. Yes, please make sure you pen down your questions for Miss Faith as she tries to join the call. So if you have questions, do not forget to write them in the chat or put them in the chat. Thank you. As we wait for Miss Faith to join back. So I would like to know in the comment section also, what are your expectations? What do you look forward to? Can everyone hear me? I said, while we wait for Miss Faith, can we also write in the chat or comment section what we're expecting from today's workshop series while we wait for Miss Faith to join back?
Hi, can everybody hear me all right now?
Okay, Faith is back. Miss Faith is back.
Okay, Aisha, I can even hear you properly now.
Okay, good.
Good,
So over to you now. Yes, good. Yeah, over to you.
Thank you.
Apologies, everyone. Apologies. Yeah,
I'm sorry, everyone, for that bridge in communication. I don't think I can blame any network right now. So sorry. Alrighty. So I said, where did I stop? Where did you stop hearing me from, Aisha?
I stopped hearing you from when you shared your story.
Okay,
when
great.
you're sharing your story. Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, yeah. So I said that story to go into what we have for today, the topic given to me, which is identifying and overcoming barriers to womenpreneurship. So I'm going to even start from what is womenpreneurship. I know we all have established that, but just for the purpose of this conversation, let me define it as this. It's just basically, to me, it means women starting businesses, managing and growing their own businesses. So it's a combination of two words, women and entrepreneurship. So a woman who is an entrepreneur. Someone asked me a question when I was preparing for this live, and he said, why do you women segregate yourself from everything? What's the difference between a man and a woman doing entrepreneurship? Why don't you people just say you're doing an entrepreneurship summit? The very difference is, and the reason why we have to talk about women in entrepreneurship is we are in Africa, and we know Africa to be a society that is not equality specific, for the lack of a better word. Let me just use that. Yeah, a woman and a man doing business in Nigeria are not two the same people. Because truth be told, I'm using Nigeria because I live in Nigeria. I don't know what the situation is for you in Uganda, in Kenya, in Rwanda. I don't know what it is, but in Nigeria, the dynamics are not always tilted in favor of women. Yeah, even when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to information, it's a lot. It's a lot, really. And so I would just go from highlighting the role of women in entrepreneurship. If you live in Nigeria, have you noticed that there's always a mama selling akara that has sponsored her children to the university with her akara business? Have you noticed there's one mama selling Iru somewhere and all her children are probably abroad from Iru selling?
Faith, can we still hear Miss Faith? Yep.
All right. Great. Can we hear
I think
me
you
now?
mistakenly muted your mic. Yes, I think you mistakenly muted your mic.
It's okay. A call was trying to call me. Maybe that's what happened. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I was saying that in Nigeria, where I live, for example, there's always one woman down the street that that I know that has raised her children from maybe selling akara. Akara is bean cake. It's bean cake now. It's something made from beans. Like, I'm trying to explain it now. Yeah. Or there's one woman who is doing one petty business just down the road that that you used to go and buy bread from, that she has built a house. and that's the house that her children and her husband. And then we look at it and we make a joke out of it. Sometimes we even sideline it. We're like, I beg, all these people, we don't even understand them. But because we don't understand them is the reason why we should actually go back and study them. I recently stumbled on a study that says by 2050, women would drastically shift the economy of Nigeria.
Wow.
By a certain percentage. I cannot remember now. I might share it after the call, after my session. But when I saw it, it pushed me to start researching. So when I got the invite to be here, I actually realized that this is a timely topic that we all need to talk about. Quick one, when I started my NGO, people continued to tell me how that NGO work is not scalable, that it's not something that's sustainable. Just leave it, go and get a 9 to 5, do a job. It's for a certain kind of people. NGOs are for people who have gotten there and then they want to now give back. But you've not even gotten there, you just started life. What are you giving back to? And I remember my mom calling me one of those days and she says, you see me doing business, you see that there are a lot of people who are attached to me, who get things from me. There are people in business that I've trained. How did I do it? I am getting the money from my business. You better start a business for your NGO. I love 9 to 5. I don't like stress. And so I told that maybe business is not for everyone. But then let's go back to the story I shared earlier. And I just remembered somehow that because I started a business after that Genesis 3 story I told you, I actually started a business. My business was every time my mom sent me to that bush market to go buy stuffs, when I go in the morning, I go very early and then I buy almost everything from those women coming directly from the farm. The people who come late to the market, I resell to them. If my mom wanted me to buy like 20 bags, I would tell those women, please give me 30 bags. I didn't have money readily in my hand. I would tell them, don't worry, between now and then, somebody wants to send me money, they will send it to me. I don't know how I got the wisdom. I don't even know how I did that. I'm not going to tell you I was one super entrepreneur. Nah, it was just, I don't know. But then I'll just tell them, please sell me all your bags. Oh, my sister is coming. She's bringing money. She'll give you. And then they'll give to me. Before you know, people will come. They'll be like, I beg, you get Acha for sale. I won't buy. I won't rush come up for this money. I'm like, okay, I'll put like 5K, 2K, 3K on the bags. That's me with 10K out of that market. I was balling. Like, I was naturally never asking anybody for money at a very young age, yeah? Why am I saying this story? I'm going to go back to where I started from, where I said that womenpreneurship in Nigeria, it's not the same thing. I'm using Nigeria again, I beg you, because this is where I live. You can copy and paste it to your environment, to your country, to wherever you are. Yeah, and women entrepreneurship in Nigeria is not the same as when a man is an entrepreneur. The opportunities are different. Yeah, the access to information are different. I just keep to a part of this teaching now. So let me come back to where I was. And yeah, so I started to do that business and I learned how to trade without money there. And my mom had told me, start a business for your NGO. Quick one, till date, crowdfunding is still a problem to me because I feel like I'm begging people for money. It's a good strategy, but I do not like to beg people for money. So most of the projects we've done in my NGO, they come from fundings from businesses that I currently do. I'm not loud about them. I don't talk about them because somehow the business sells itself. And what is it that I'm doing? It's still agriculture. I said earlier that there was a statistics that said African women will shift the trajectory of the economy of Africa by a huge percentage by 2050. It was actually by agriculture, that research said. Because when the UN started to research women, they started to research and see more women in the agricultural sector. They were not just middlemen, they were women actively. Majority of the women in Nigeria, rural women, are into agriculture. Recently, we did a widows project where we were trying to scale up business for petty traders, right? And then what we got to realize was, I'm deviating already to the barriers. What we got to realize was that these women had access to knowledge, serious knowledge about entrepreneurship, about selling, about buying. But what they had an issue with was managing their finances. I once heard Dangote said, if you want to build money in Nigeria, you have to tilt to how you can get different source of income. And so that's why you see Dangote Sugar, Dangote Cement, it's not like this business are not thriving, but because they have access to a certain level of information, they tilt towards other source of finances. Somebody like Tony Elumelu has Hairs Holding. He's not just doing UBA. He has shares in the Transcorp Hilton. He has different areas where he gets money from, because like, again, what I always say and gets me angry a lot, why are women always doing only marriage classes? You will see men doing summits. They are doing business financial summits. All you're going to see is how to cook for your husband, how to do this, how to do that. I'm humbly, I don't know, I'm not dragging anybody or throwing shades to anybody. Anybody who's ministering that, that's by all means, God bless you. But honestly, if we are talking about barriers and how to curb these barriers, one of the things that I personally think that we can be doing, even as young women going into entrepreneurship, is leveraging the people ahead of us who have done amazing well in business and deliberately stepping down that knowledge to other women who are coming after us. I'm especially excited for everyone in IDEV now, because I truly believe that when you're equipped with all the knowledge from this SDG 5 and how women can come into entrepreneurship and leverage different information and all you have right now, I truly believe and I indulge you to please step it down. Go to a community, look for random women, just very easy. You can even go to banks and approach them. Banks just want numbers. If I have 50 women and I tell a bank, I need POS for these women, I need a financial teaching for these women, please come with me to the community and let's do this. I promise you gladly, they would follow you because they have numbers. You just help them open 50 accounts. So they are willing to, and some of them have programs. I feel like I'm sorry, I'm not going to be very structured with my teaching, telling you this part. I don't teach like that. The theories are just too much. We need practical. And then so the banks need numbers, so they will definitely follow you through. So I believe I just gave someone an idea right now. Go and approach a bank. That's what we did with the Widows Project recently. We got some POS for these women. It was free of charge. They were happy. We were happy because we partnered. And so I'll just dive to collaboration. One of the barriers that women face when it comes to womenpreneurship is lack of collaboration. You see, everyone wants to be somewhere doing their own bit. It would take a longer time for us to achieve the bigger picture if we are all somewhere in our places doing this, doing that. There's something my mom taught me. Yet again, I would share again. I remember what just happened. Okay, I remember I would usually follow her to the market. Every time I came back from school, I just drop my uniform and go back to the market. And I remember that there was a day we ran out of a particular thing to sell, maybe rice. Let me just use rice now, for example. So somebody wanted, we measure in mudus in Abuja. Somebody wanted like 10 mudus of rice. She was out of it. And she said, I'll quickly go to Mama Rashida and collect Ofada rice, collect 20 mudu. Tell her I'm coming. And I'm like, you're coming. She said, my friend, go and tell her. I said, I'm coming. Let her give it to you. I'm coming. So I took a sack, ran and came back. She sold. She calculated the amount and gave it to me to go and give to that woman. What was that? I didn't understand it at the time, but now I see it as what? Collaboration. She could easily have said, I do not have, and then send the person away. The person has to go and look for somewhere else to buy from. Let me tell you the wisdom in this. It looks like it's not wise to do that, but this is the wisdom in that. Now you've saved your customer stress. And you've also saved your customer. Because if they go back to that person that you are pointing them to go and buy from, what if they don't come back to you the next day? It's wisdom. It's wisdom. So you have to. So there are things you don't get to learn in the four walls of class. You don't learn them in a business school. By being in and with someone who's an entrepreneur, you're learning. So I learned collaboration in that regard. So sometimes even in the evening, when they don't finish selling their stuff, because she sells wholesale, when they don't finish selling their stuff, they come and give her like, I beg, you go buy this thing. It means, please, will you buy this? They give it to her at a cheaper rate and she buys it and keeps it, right? Another thing I like to say is when a woman is into entrepreneur, when you're planning to go into entrepreneur, learn how to leverage credit. Learn how to leverage credit. Learn how to leverage getting money from people, from your family, from your friends. Because the truth is, most times the person who has money, can everybody still hear me? Please, you
Yes,
can
we
unmute your
can
mic.
see if they're audible. Yes, we can.
Amazing,
Yes.
amazing. So get access to credit. What I mean is not just going to loan money or borrow money from every random person. I tell you that the people in your immediate environment have money. You just don't know because you've not asked with value. I'll say that again. The people in your immediate environment have money, but they won't give it to you, or you wouldn't know because you've not asked with value. What do I mean? If I'm going to sell palm oil, for example, if I'm into palm oil business and that's what I do, and maybe it's a time to buy palm oil and I don't have money readily in my hands to buy. Because the truth about entrepreneurship most times is sometimes the people who have access to credit, they scale up more. Dangote is borrowing money not because he's broke, because he needs to leverage your money to buy things in bulk. And you notice how when you're buying things in bulk, you get it at cheaper rates. If you go to a shop and say, I want to buy one biscuit, please sell it for me 2 naira, as opposed to saying, I want to buy 30,000 pieces of biscuits. The Igbo man's brain have calculated sharply. If I remove, that's the thing. The people who have money in bulk access a lot of things easily at cheaper rates and they make more money. So this is where I'm going to. So there are people around you. Some of us will say access to funding, no access to funding. We hear it as a song every day. That's a barrier. But how do we break this barrier of access to funding? Yeah. So there are people around you can borrow money from if you add value to them. My example was maybe I'm a palm oil entrepreneur and that's what I sell. If I go to my sister who has, say, 10 million naira to give me, and I tell her that, please give me this 10 million naira, I want to buy so thing, but I'll be buying a certain amount for you so that you can also double your revenue by so amount, and I can guarantee it. Do you know she'll be more willing to give me that money as opposed to saying, I beg you get urgent 2K if you give me always and run business? Because when you ask me for urgent 2K, I'm sure that urgent 2K is not coming back because of how you are asking. Yeah.
Right.
So if you bring me value in exchange for my own value, it's easy for me to help you with money. That's on the side. That's on the side. So let me just go directly to why women started entrepreneurship. Firstly, it's because of economic empowerment. More and more women want to be financially stable. More and more women want to be economically empowered. And then more and more women want to be financially independent, I beg your pardon, financially independent. Gone are those days where when you want to buy stuff, you always have to go to someone to give you the money. There's power in being independent. I say it every time, maybe also because my mom taught us how to be financially independent from very young. I do not know, but again, that's one of the factors. Lastly, women desire to contribute to their communities. If you notice in Nigeria, and I always use that, a lot of people would naturally go to the women who sell things for credit. Please, can you give me Maggi, Milo, and this for credit? Sometimes those credit people are coming to ask you for, if you can give it to them for free, it's community development. Don't you think so? I think so, because my mom does it. Now, you are not able to do that. What was the time? Okay, 4:44. You're not able to do that as a woman if you're not financially stable. What I mean is, when you develop your business to a point where there's a give back funnel, it brings you even much more. I know people who do business right now, and because of their business, they have access to grants to help other women. Yes. Because of their business being like a give back point, they can carefully put in their grants that we've been able to sponsor livelihood for over 20,000 women, over 10,000 women via this business. And once you put that in a clause for the grant you're applying for, people are after numbers. Donors are after numbers. Most times they are willing to give you funding. So truthfully, funding can be a problem when you're starting out, but there are so many ways to access funding. Another thing I like to say is, one of the challenges that womenpreneurs face is lack of information. I will still continue to say this. On the Wednesday before the protest in Nigeria, we were at the National Assembly, and a lot of information was stepped down to youths in that room. For example, ITF, that's international, what's ITF now? Fund, international, whatever fund. Training, yeah, international training
Industrial
fund.
training fund.
Yes, thank you so much. International Training Fund. They had funding available to train 1 million or 10 million artisans by 2025. And the information reaching us from that youth platform, that forum that we were at the National Assembly, says that every youth that is into any sort of training, bag making, shoe making, can go to the ITF and register with them to access the funding for this. How many people had access to this information? And I kid you not, the truth is, most times the people who access this information first leverage it, run with it, and it never even gets to some of the people in the grassroots. Connect the dots. What I'm trying to say is, sometimes most information will get to the men on the table before it gets to the women who are on the backside, the grassroots, or just at basic level of entrepreneurship. If the government of Nigeria wants to call a meeting to scale the economy, I hope you know they are calling Dangote. I hope you know they are calling Tony Elumelu. I hope you know they are calling some of these men who are seated on the corridors of power there. So before they cascade these informations to you, the deed is done. So, and that's why I personally always encourage that build networks around people, whether men or whether women, build networks around people who get the information first. I call them the gatekeepers. People who are at the hem of this information. I personally have thrived on this secret. There are informations that get to me, and trust me, they don't get out before it gets to me. I'm glad that I have access to some of these people who tell me these things. Yeah, but does everyone have access? No. So the idea right now is what I will also encourage you to do in this call. If you're a woman who is planning to go into entrepreneurship, one of the things you should be looking out for is following the people who are the gatekeeper in your industry. You want to go into agric, you want to go into cosmetics, you want to go into beauty, you want to go into lifestyle, you want to go into impact space, whatever work that you want to do. Find the gatekeepers in the entrepreneurial sector of this thing that you want to do and go close to them, right? You can follow them online. You can buy their courses. You can try to get into their inner circle. This is where informations come to. I was privy to an European Union funding that was available for a project some months ago, just because I was in a community. So there are barriers, of course, but we cannot stay on the barriers, really. It's okay that we see the impossibility, but it's not okay that we dwell in the impossibilities, right? So there are access to information if you push yourself out there to get the information. Yeah, and then lastly, I would like to say, okay, I was supposed to stop at, I'm just trying to check my time. Okay, 4:49. I'm not sure when I was supposed to stop at 4:55, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, so that you have room for questions.
There. All right. So the last thing I would like to say is women who are already successful or navigating successfully womenpreneurship should learn to share their stories. Learn to share your stories as vulnerably as you can. Because I promise you, if you meet the average young girl, the average woman these days and tell her start a business, the next thing you're hearing is, where I want come more money from. In Nigerian English, that will mean, where will I remove the money from? But there are business under 10K that you can start right now. I will tell you one. Go online. Tell people that you've started selling shoes and let them pre-order before you give them. Go online, screenshot the shoes you are selling from different vendors, put it on your page, and people pre-order. Tell them it takes 7 to 15 days and it's payment before delivery. What do you think Jumia does? What do you think some of these online platforms do? You think they readily have cash at hand? It's circulation of money, really. I just gave you a tip, right? But you could copy and paste that to different areas. But truthfully, if we do sit down and critically think, the first business I ever did before this my agri business, the first business I ever did was daycare. I was collecting children and keeping them for their parents until they came back from school or from work or wherever they went to. When I come back from school, I didn't have a chalkboard or anything. My father's wall suffered. They were paying me 20 naira per child. I'll put it in my colo.
Wow.
It's called saving box. I'll put it there. By the end of the year, I'd removed enough money that I could use to start my Coke business, because a lot of people were sending me to go and buy Coke for them in the area. Come and buy Fanta for me. So we had a fridge in the house. I was not doing anything. And my mom said, use the fridge and start selling Coke. The first money I got from when I opened that whole colo, I started that business. So the idea is not to actually start big. You get, the idea is start with what you have. Start progressing gradually. You're going to get to a point now where you can now access credit. You can now access loans. You can now ask people for money, because if people have seen your track record, really, that you started this business yesterday and now this is where it's at. If you're asking them for money, they will give you. I have a friend who currently started a fish farming thingy. Right now, people are the ones asking him, is there any way we can give, if I give you 10 million naira, how much can I get from it? That's how businesses like Tribe Agric started. You can Google Tribe Agric online. There are just a lot of things that we can do. But because we're women, sometimes the barriers of stereotype, I'm a woman, no, I shouldn't be handling this much money. Who said that? Who said that?
Very true.
I buy into that mindset. Whatever is telling you that you're not supposed to have money in this life. I recently read about a 20-year-old who had fleets of estates. Is it fleets they used to call it? I don't know. Like me, I was shocked. Me, every time I see things like that, I don't tell myself, na lie, na wash, na publicity, na content. I don't care. As long as I heard it with this my ear, it means that it is possible. And if it's possible, it means that it's also possible for me. And so I'm going to be in calls like this, share ideas with women like this, and we're going to come out with better ideas, more better ideas on how to scale. And I tell you, women, we like to gossip a lot. And so if you can channel that energy from gossip, I love it. I love the fact that we can gossip, because in the gossip, the ideas can come out. In the gossip, you can now say, I remember when I started my earring business. So just gossip us about finance, gossip with us about that, the nitty-gritty, how you went into it. So and also encourage everyone on this call. You can have a community of people where you have periodic brainstorming about how to make money. Go over the businesses, even if they sound stupid. How I can be selling okpa and you can be selling pap, and we can collaborate together. My audience need you, right? Every time they order for these beans, they need bread. Do you sell bread? Can I bring beans? I'm using relatable examples because, I mean, these are very practical things that people do and they scale. You get. So be in a network of people who discuss business, who discuss entrepreneurship. Go to them who sell and borrow wisdom. What I'm trying to say lastly is, if all your friends are guys, there's no law that says that you can't learn from them, entrepreneurship from them. If all the people around you are men, there are no women who are like examples in front of you. Go and ask them questions. By force, by fire, them. In short, if you need to take them out, take them out. Let your people sit on a table. You bought 3K rice, you bought 5K rice. You would have gotten ideas that will help your business in 1,000,001 ways. Trust me, stop going for cheap knowledge every time. Stop calling people every time, come and help me, my business is failing. They will be postponing you. They'll tell you, don't worry, tomorrow I'll call you. Next tomorrow I'll call you. They won't. Schedule a dinner meeting, a business dinner lunch. What do you think people do in these places? They actually have conversations that move their businesses forward. Have sense, have wisdom. Thank you all. I love you. I'm done with my session.
Wow, a round of applause for Faith. Thank you so much. Please, everyone on this call, use your favorite emoji to celebrate Miss Faith. Thank you, Faith, for that impactful, educative, in fact, I'll call it organic, you know, you carried everyone along with your presentation, your discussion. I'm sure a lot of women on this call right now who came in, who had no clue of what they can actually do. I'm sure living with what you shared, you've given them the idea, and I'm sure they will all come up with something. In fact, on this call, I already see future CEOs here. I see future business owners. I even see future women who would be in the positions of them Otedola, the Dangotes, and the rest of it. Thank you so much, Miss Faith, for that wonderful, impactful, and educative presentation. So back to the participants. Anyone with questions, just kindly indicate, or you can just raise up your hands. Just use the raising hand emoji, please. Just raise up your hands if you have questions. You can just react. Let me see. Let me go to the chat. Sorry. Faith, a lot of them were already reacting, even before you concluded your presentation. Honestly, everybody was already reacting. I can see the clapping reaction. I can see the fire reaction. Everyone is saying thank you so much. So this time for questions, everyone. Thank you so much. They say it was perfect. I can see somebody dancing. It was more than perfect. Magnificent. Oh, no, Faith. All of them are all just celebrating you. Yoshe, Oshe. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Anyone with questions? No questions? We just have 3 more minutes. Anyone with questions for Miss Faith? 3 minutes.
I have a question I can ask Miss Faith.
Okay,
This
go
is
ahead.
Linda from Kenya. What would you say in Nigeria is the solution to getting more young people to get into science-oriented kind of businesses? Because you find sometimes the statistics say that women are in the spaces of art, education, agriculture, but in the real sense, science is a very big field, and the women I've seen in science are doing very well. How would you bring that out and ensure that women understand that they can also venture into it? Thank you.
All right, thank you for your question. If I understand you properly, you're saying, why are there not more Nigerian women in STEM, right? Amazing. I'd like to say, I think there are women in STEM. It's just the number is not enough for it to start gaining that much traction. And at the same time, I think that a lot of women in STEM are not putting themselves out there. It's something I forgot to mention in my presentation. And it's the fact that no matter how little your process starts, especially because you're a woman who is trying to pioneer something in the entrepreneurship space, and because this space is already largely saturated by men, you'll be doing a larger bulk of us and a whole generation a favor by sharing what you're doing, by sharing your process, by sharing your success stories, and even your failure stories. The point I'm trying to make is, I know a couple of people, women, girls, young women who are in tech right now, but they are on the low. On the low in the sense that most of these people are introverted. And so they don't even bother to put out there what they do. And so the statistics doesn't cover them. In the flip side of this question, I would just advise, in my own perspective, that more government policies or more incentives. Okay, yeah. So I would just advise that more government policies, especially for Nigeria, are tilted towards women accessing maybe some of these things for free, some of these tech skills, I don't know, whatever, the whole science and all. Because trust me, in Nigeria, what I know, even when I went to like secondary school, I knew that science was a thing that most boys are supposed to gravitate towards. There's still that stereotype, there's still that cultural barrier, there's still that cultural norm that is just hanging somewhere in the air, where a woman said, I want to be an engineer. I have a friend who's an electrical engineer, by the way, Faye. You can follow her online. I can drop that. She's doing exceptionally well, even grooming more and more people. But again, listening to you now, I even realized that I need to go tell her to make what she's doing louder, because there are more people who could be inspired by her. But again, these lines are usually male dominated and male propagated, right? So I think maybe we can just bring up policies. We can just advise people around us who we know are in government or are in charge of making some of these policies to make this style or this part of let's just use STEM. Let's use STEM more attractive to women, right? I think that would help. I also think that if anybody can contribute to this question that was just asked, feel very free to do that. Aisha, do they have permission to do that?
Actually,
we're out of time.
Because
yeah?
of time,
Yeah.
yes, we're out of time because
All right.
we want to, move to the next session. Thank you so much, Faith, for this wonderful, contribution, presentation, information, and etc. So at this point, I would say thank you once again. And Faith, do you mind sharing your details in the chat section where people can have access to you? Maybe they can follow you on Instagram, on LinkedIn. People might even still want to have questions. They still have questions for you, but because of time, so they can have contact of your contact so that they can actually, interact with you on, questions and advice and mentorship in this regard. Do you mind? So you can just put down your details if you don't mind. Faith, your mic is muted.
Just yet again. I'm so sorry.
Yes,
I was trying to say that right now I'm typing the link to my Instagram page. It's easier to get across to me on Instagram. So if you click on the link, it will direct you to my Instagram page. It's in the chat box. Thank you everyone for having me.
Thank you,
I think I can go now. Yeah, I have to jump on
Yes, you
something.
can go now. Thank you so much, Miss Faith. Everyone,
you're welcome.
Use your best emojis to react. Miss Faith is leaving us as we move to the next session. Thank you, Miss Faith. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bless you. Bye.
Bye. I will.
Bye. Thank you so much, Miss Faith, and thank you, Aisha, for that wonderful session. It was
I
really
see you. I'm Yomide, the ebony, the melanin popping Yomide. So, everyone, for our next session is the panel session. As you can see, the host who is ready to take on this session, the beautiful Ayomide Ilesom. In fact, Ayomide deserves a red carpet recognition, a standing ovation, because Ayomide has been so very, very, very supportive, very active regarding the SDG 5 IDEF Africa Mentorship Program. Thank you so much, Ayomide, for all you do. And I hand over the floor to Ayomide, who will be handling the panel session. Have a good one, Ayomide.
Thank you so much, Aisha, for the accolades. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate. And that was a nice session from Faith and the hosting as well. Thank you so much. Also to our amazing guests that are here. Thank you for staying till this time. I hope you are learning. In fact, I can see that you are learning. So right about now, we'll be delving into the panel session. And I have two amazing people with me, one from Nigeria, one from Kenya. And trust me, they are people of timber and caliber, people of value. So yes, the first will be bringing up Ibrahim Faleye Iro from Nigeria. Ibrahim Faleye is the founder of Menstrual Health and Pad Bank Initiative. He's also the head photographer of Didi Legendary Photography, and he's a first aid and safety provider for first aid services in Nigeria. With clapping ovation, emoji ovation, please can we bring up Ibrahim Faleye Iro. Good evening, Ibrahim.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I hope everybody
Good
can.
evening.
Let me move to a better location. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, can. Yeah, we
Okay.
can hear you.
We can hear you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Nice to have you all. Hope I'm visible a bit.
Thank you.
Yes, we can see you also.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be bringing our second panelist up to this virtual podium. Our second panelist is Linda Wangechi from Kenya. Please permit me if I did not pronounce that correctly. I'm so sorry. So Linda Wangechi is she's an innovative business management professional with more than 10 years experience working in consumer products and services industry. Our strengths are creative communication, market research, strategy development, and implementation. She's currently she has worked with small and medium enterprises with the sole aim of building and expanding brands. On LinkedIn, we know Linda to be the business mentor. So would you be clapping an emoji ovation? Please welcome Linda from Kenya. Good evening, Linda. Yeah, Linda, so please can you unmute your mic so we know?
Good evening. It's actually 7 p.m. in Nairobi. So it's evening, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the sacrifice. We sincerely appreciate. So the theme of this panel session is the role of government policies, business networks, and mentorship programs in supporting womenpreneurs. Yes. So I'll start asking my questions from Linda. So today while I was scrolling on the internet, I was surfing the internet, and I saw this post where a lady posted a picture of IT defense, and there were lots of guys in that picture. She literally was the only female. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me, Linda?
I can hear you, but there's
Yes, I can
words
hear you.
are missing somewhere. I think, yeah, please.
Oh,
if you don't mind, take that again.
All right. Yeah, I can take it again. So I was surfing the internet today and I saw a post where a lady was celebrating her IT defense, and apparently she happens to be the only woman, however, in her class. Then I checked the comment section and I saw things like, oh, when you see that more men are in the class, then you know it's a serious cause. So I'd like to say the same as entrepreneurship. Some people have this notion that, oh, we have more of male in the corporate, let me say corporate entrepreneurship industry, then we have more women, just like Faith said, selling akara by the roadside and all. I'd like to ask, what's this notion that the men are supposed to be in this top corporate ladder, top corporate entrepreneurship, while the women do the manual entrepreneurship jobs? Is it supposed to be like that? Is it a notion that is credible, that is legit? Yes, I don't know if you understand my question. So yes, Linda, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayomide. I think that I've pronounced it right? Okay. Thank you so much for having me today. I am looking forward to engage with you and also learn from you about that topic, women, science, and astronauts, and all those other STEM industries. I think if you look at when we were doing science in probably middle school or primary school, where you had this experiment where you'd put a plant that is growing away, one at the window, another one in the dark. And then what you'd see when you would actually visit the science lab, would see the one that is growing in the dark has grown a very long stem to try and look for light. But the one that is in the light is actually thriving. It is growing upwards. It is sprouting. It is probably even flowering before the other one does. And I think that is exactly what happens with women in STEM and even more complicated courses, because from an early age, women are taught not to get dirty. Women don't do this. Women don't shout. Women don't deal with cars. Women are always in the kitchen. When you go to family gatherings, there is always a woman doing something in the kitchen. It is the gender roles that are assigned in our society that also make it easier for women to fit into those roles. But when you look at the Western countries, you find that now, because of technology and the ability for women to be given platforms where they can be trained and they can get exposure, they are now venturing into manufacturing. They are venturing into science. I think the other day is the time I saw a lady astronaut who went and got stuck in space. In conclusion, what I'd like to say is that I don't believe that any woman can, or I don't believe that that is the way to go. It is how we create the environment to push these ladies towards the STEM and towards projects that we think can bring out the science in them. And if we as women can also call ourselves up and say that if we see women in our environment that have the strength to be in science and to be in serious projects, serious environments, we need to support them. We need to blow their horns. We need to ensure that we mention their names in rooms that we are in. Yeah, that's what I think about it. Thank you. Over to you, Ayomide.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you so much. So now I'll be moving to Ibrahim. Yes, Ibrahim, we've noticed the gap. We've noticed the gap in entrepreneurship, especially women in corporate entrepreneurship space, right? So I would like to ask, what strategies do you think can be effected in, in limiting this gap or allowing participation of women in entrepreneurship, like corporate? Yeah, I know because the reason why I'm emphasizing on corporate is because women are known to be doing all of the manual jobs, and the percentage, I won't say you'd add but like the percentage of men to women in the corporate entrepreneurship space is actually very wide. So what strategies do you think can allow participation of women in this space? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for having me. So, for me, I usually say this. As a man myself, I have interest. I have what I like. So, I think going forward, at a very young age, everybody should, maybe parents or teacher from school should align a person according to his passion. Let's leave grade aside. I might be good in sciences, but actually have the spirit of sportsmanship. So why not let me thrive in that science field and let me strive in sportsmanship, maybe any sports. Maybe let's use track and field, for example. I'm just using that as a breakdown. So I might be very good in sciences. I'm very good in sports. So this is now left to the interest of the person. I think the interest of the person is supposed to be determined. Like, let's ask that question. What would you like to do exactly? So for most of the ladies, most of them don't. They push them to certain things. This is what you should do. This is what you should do. So I feel there have to be a level playing ground for them to also express themselves. This is what I want to do. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. So, and they need to orientate them that when it comes to entrepreneurship, it's not just business. So there's social entrepreneurship, there's business entrepreneurship, there's corporate entrepreneurship. So there's limited information about entrepreneurship to them. So, and if you look by our curriculum, most of the entrepreneurship in the universities are skill or business entrepreneurship. You have to paint, you have to do this. Let's look at, meanwhile, there are many corporate entrepreneurship courses. Like, let's use HR, for example. You find women thrive with the HR department than men. In my school, I can count 50 ladies studying IRPM. We all know internal relation and personal management than the men. So and I think so that culture started, I think, like 5 years ago. Before it used to be men studying IRPM, but it's somebody opened that gap and said that women thrive more in this space. So let's look at UI UX, for example. You'll find more women in UI UX than, let's say, Python or Java. Have you thought about it too? So it's not an easy journey. We'll get there. So you just need to orientate them that there are different aspects of entrepreneurship. So look at the one you are interested in. Are you passionate about business? Are you passionate about social responsibilities, which is social entrepreneurship? There are many under the social responsibility. There are a lot of things. There's non-profit. There's a profit, non-profit. There's a CSR. But there's a lot of things. So we just need to orientate them that this is how it works. I hope I've been able to answer the question.
Yes, thank you very much, Ibrahim. And I see that from what you said, the interest of what the women want is actually very important. However, I see you talking about orientation. And I think orientation and if they had adequate mentorship, they had adequate mentorship program, do you think it would be enough to close the gap? Because talking about interest, some women don't really know what they want. If there was adequate mentorship, do you think this gap would be closed? Do you think this gap would be closed if there was adequate mentorship?
Well, if there's adequate mentorship, it's closed, but it's not totally closed. There are many factors so we need to understand. Let's look. Women are more limited than we the men. So we need to understand that at a certain stage in a woman's career, she's going to get pregnant, she's going to mother, she's going to suckle her child, she's going to menstruate. So we need to understand. So it's not a straight line; it's a zigzag. So there's a certain time in a woman's career where she's going to give birth. No, when she's going to marry, when she's going to give birth, when she's going to breastfeed, when she's going to nurture the child, when she's going to menstruate, then continue. So most of them get tired with all these activities, by the way. It's even we as men, we get tired. So it would do something. Mentoring the girls would open them to see that there are all the opportunities that they can enhance and use for their own advantage. But you have to also look at their strengths and consider these factors that I mentioned. It's going to close it, but you need to consider those things. Some might have the strength and some might not have the strength. So even as men, if I use a boxer to compare me, a boxer will beat me. He's stronger than me. So I have my strength, I have my weakness. So those are things we need to put in place.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. So Linda, I'll be asking you the same question. Do you think adequate mentorship for women and girl children is enough to close the gap in this womenpreneurship issue that we have?
Oh, sorry, my audio was off. As I don't know whether you know this, but Kenya got 11 medals in the Olympics. And as a Kenyan, I'm very, very proud of us. I don't know how I contributed, but I think I somehow did. But using that example, I could say, if any other Kenyan is in the room, please remind me the ratio of Kenyan men is to women in terms of the gold medals. I think in terms of the medals, I think women we were competitive this time. We gave men a run for their money.
Men dominated more, yes. The women dominated more than the men in the Olympics.
Yes. And all I can say is they had good coaches, they had good mentors, they had people who really supported their dream. If we just look at that scenario of the Olympics, how much it takes to create an Olympic athlete, it takes a whole village. And it means the village came together and they decided that this person they need a good environment, they need support, they need people to talk to, and somehow our athletes topped the rank in their field. I think mentorship is key to any growth journey, whether men or women. but particularly for women, because we are emotional beings. Sometimes men will take some things and yeah, it's not an issue, but for women, they'll carry it to heart. And they may think I'm not good enough and carry that thing for years and years and think that I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I don't have money. I don't have support. But when women have people to talk to, then there is so much magic that comes from that. They have an ability to open up, to understand themselves, to see how they can impact their environment by just being the best versions of themselves. I, as a mentor who deals with women, I can tell you for a fact, there is always that light bulb moment when you're mentoring someone and they see the brilliance that they have deep within themselves that I did not know they had it. But just because of the conversations that we have, the exposure that you give them, they understand that they can actually make a difference. I love a certain cartoon that I used to watch when I was young, Tom and Jerry. And when I was watching Tom and Jerry, Jerry had a cousin. I don't know if it was a cousin. For you who watched Tom and Jerry, probably you might remember there was another smaller mouse that would come and visit Jerry. And this smaller mouse would always get Jerry into trouble, whether it is stealing food, whether it is getting into trouble with Tom. And when you watch that cartoon, you would see Jerry always running after this person, telling him, we don't do this here, we don't do this here, ensuring that there is always keeping this mouse alive. And that's exactly what a mentor does, is to know where the trouble areas are, to help this person open their eyes and be prepared for the opportunities when they arise. Thank you, and back to you, Yomi.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Linda. So now I'll be asking now question because of our time. Yes. So do you think the government have, so now we've established that women need women need mentors, rather women parents need mentors. So now I'll be asking, do you think the government, no, yeah, okay. Do you think the government has a role to play, or do you think the government have, already established policies that can promote women entrepreneurship? I would love for you to speak for Nigeria, since you are a Nigerian, right? Do you think the Nigerian government have established policies that can promote women entrepreneurship, actually contribute to economic? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, let's using Nigeria as a case study. The government are doing their best to support women, and I'm sure you yourself you've attended many women entrepreneurship program. Even in Nigeria, we are the first to have a women themed radio, Women FM, WFM. In the whole of Africa, Nigeria is the first country to ever have a women only radio. I'm sure that no other country has a women-only radio. So the government is doing their best, yes, in the little way they can. So let's use the political arena. We're going to touch different aspects. Let's use the political arena. The governments are really trying in that aspect. So let's use I'm a political person in my party. For every office you are running for, a man buys a ticket, a woman gets a ticket for free. If I'm buying a ticket, if I'm going for a councillor, for example, which is like the lowest form of government, I'm paying as much as 50 million to buy a ticket, while the woman is getting it for free. And if you see in the let's use the national level, they are giving women opportunities. We must not lie, but the women are not really giving their all into it. Most of them see it like, I don't know if they see men as their competition that don't let them perform well. So one person that has really performed well was Dora Akunyili. May her soul rest in peace. She showed us that what a man can do, another woman can do it better. So I don't know why women are running away from politics. Maybe it's their husband that is stopping them, or maybe they say politics is a dirty game. But if we don't get dirty, we can't get. It takes if this hand is dirty, it takes his hand to rub this hand. It will get dirty, then get clean. So in that aspect, our government is trying. Then there are also, I know of many funds dedicated to women entrepreneurs, like startup funds for women from governments. And I'm not, I had a bad report that when it's time to return those funds, some women don't return it. Some women give excuses. So it's not giving governments a good vibe. Like, we want to set you up. You're supposed to carry another person along. Most of them don't like carrying. So there's another factor. Most women don't like carrying themselves. If I've empowered you, you're not supposed to stop there. You're supposed to look for somebody to empower. Mentorship, be it advice, be it apprenticeship, be it employing the person. But in Nigeria, we've seen that it's not like that. We don't know why. I don't know why. But in Nigeria, the government has been trying in grants. I know the government has grants based for women, and even our bankings, their CBN has policies for loans for women that are cheaper than men. So there's a whole lot of policy that the government is doing that even you women don't know about because people do research too. Most women they are on this TikTok and Snapchat. I'm sorry to say this, but you will see them even in tech. They would rather go to Snapchat and TikTok than do the tech them themselves. So there are a lot of policies they are now aware. But I think we have to do a orientation on policies that guides women in entrepreneurship or women industry in Nigeria. But the Nigerian government is trying. Let's be honest, they are trying. In Lagos State, for example, you find more women CEO now. Like, you have women conference. I attended the course, an entrepreneurship course at the Lagos Business School. We are about 10 men and like 50 women. So that's the progress. In like let's say 20 years back, you will find like 50 men inside that room and 10 men and 10 women. Now it's shifting. So these are policies that guide it. So and those policies are opening people's eyes, but you need, even you as the woman, if there are these policies, if you don't know about it, it's as good as there's no policy. So you need to also get informed. The internet is there. Look for grants. Look for policies that guide the women and the womanhood as a whole. I hope I'm able to.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ibrahim. I'd also like to say, since you are a government official, aspiring or government official, I would also like to, advise the government in case anyone is.
Okay. I can barely hear you. Oh. Hello, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mr. Ibrahim, actually.
Everyone
Okay,
is getting their opportunity, and even get access.
I am there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I lost you at the point. Can you start? Please come again.
Yeah, I need to. Okay, so yes, I'm saying that the government should also make all of these opportunities very open, very open. You can use different broadcasting and publicity channels, because I mean, the people they are even making this available to, I think Faith Emmanuel said, the people they are making this available to, most of them are not aware of these opportunities. It's only those that know the guys that are in charge of this that get to benefit from it most time. So yes, thank you very much, Ibrahim.
Well, sorry, let me just chip something in. Okay. With for a while now, most of these informations are in the open space. It's just that people don't take note of it. Just like the tech, at the moment there are about 10 grants and funds from the government to women in agri, and it's open. You just find out that people are not applying. So sometimes in recent time, it has been they've been announcing it on an open platform. If you go on Twitter, you will find it a lot. I don't know why recently there has been a visible. The only people that I know that don't even get information are people that are not tech savvy. Let's say people, and in one way, I think I'm aware, like a CDA group, they pass this information. Like every house in the community has a CDA association. Even in that CDA association, they pass this information. And I just have a feeling that most of the times they don't take it serious. Let's be honest. That's how I see it, because most of these initiatives and grants and opportunities I don't get to hear them from government official. I hear them from the internet too myself. Then look into it. Is it what I can do? If it's not what I can do, I have volunteers. I push to my volunteers. Take and I used to draw them in the eye. I know, especially the girls. Take note of these opportunities. So in one way, government has been helpful in passing that information. Sometimes we, the people that are supposed to receive the information, don't take it serious. I'm going to be frank. I'm not being emotional. I'm on a level playing ground. I'm not saying I'm a man. I won't say the truth. So because it's a girl-based talk, but I will say the truth as it is. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. As much as I would have loved to ask more questions, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Linda. Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Thank you so much, everyone that is on this call. We do not take your time for granted. Thank you so much. Please, would love to connect with you. Kindly drop your social media handles. Okay, I think on LinkedIn, Linda is Linda the business mentor, and she's Linda Wandechi on Instagram. Then Ibrahim is Ibrahim Faleye on LinkedIn, and he's Padman of Lagos on Instagram. Please let's do well to connect to them. We don't have time to ask them these questions on their social media, and I'm sure they'll be glad to receive them. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. I hope we learned. We'll be sending a form. We'll be sending feedbacks, your reviews. Thank you so much, everyone. Africa SDG. Yeah, bye, Miss Linda. Thank you. Yeah. Bye. Yeah, thank you.